Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please like, share this video and subscribe this channel.
Mr. President, in a moment, I will ask unanimous consent that the Senate pass the Children and Teens Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPPA 2.0, bipartisan legislation that would finally update our children's online privacy law for the modern internet age. More than 25 years ago, I passed the original Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. At that time, the internet looked very different than it does today. Only birds tweeted 25 years ago. TikTok was the sound which a clock made. But one thing that has not changed, children and teens deserve privacy. They deserve safety. They deserve protection online. Unfortunately, Big Tech's business model has evolved far faster than our laws. Today, the largest online platforms collect enormous amounts of personal data from their users, including from children and from teenagers. That data fuels an advertising machine designed to keep young people clicking, swiping, and scrolling for as long as possible. These ads are big business for Big Tech. In 2022, the major big tech platforms earned nearly $11 billion from U.S. users 17 and under. This model has real consequences for the well-being of our young people. $11 billion. And we're facing a youth mental health crisis in this country, driven in part by social media platforms. I have said these statistics on the floor before, but they bear repeating. According to the Centers for Disease Control, 1 in 4 teenage high school girls in the United States seriously considered suicide in 2023. At least 1 in 8 high school girls in the United States in 2023 attempted suicide. Among LGBTQ youth, the number is more than 1 in 5 attempted suicide in 2023. Congress has a responsibility to respond. COPPA 2.0 does exactly that. It brings our children's privacy laws into the 21st century. And it gives young people and it gives their families meaningful control over their personal information. First, COPPA 2.0 bans targeted advertising to children and teenagers. The days of building detailed behavioral profiles on young people in order to serve them, manipulate them, hyper-personalize the ads, that era must come to an end. That is what we're talking about in this legislation here today, ending that era in our country. Second, the legislation creates an eraser button, allowing children and teens and their parents to delete the personal data that platforms have collected about them. Third, COPPA 2.0, the Child Online Privacy Protection Act 2.0, establishes strong limits on the collection of personal information from minors. If a platform, for example, does not need a child or teen's data to provide the service, it should not be collecting that data in the first place. These are simple, common sense protections, and they have broad bipartisan support. And I'm very, very proud to have worked over the last 3 years with my friend, Senator Cassidy from Louisiana, on constructing this legislation and moving it to the floor here today. He is a physician. He is someone who believes in preventative care, and that is what this bill is today. It just avoids much of the harm that otherwise will be imposed upon teenagers and children in our country. And I also want to thank Chairman Cruz, Ranking Member Cantwell, and many other members in this body who have helped move this legislation forward. This effort has also been driven by parents, by advocates, by young people themselves, families who have experienced firsthand the harms that can result when online platforms prioritize profit over the safety of children. Passing COPPA 2.0 today would represent the single most significant update to children's online privacy protections in a quarter of a century. It's long overdue. We know there is a crisis. And it would send a clear message that Congress is prepared to stand up to big tech and put the interests of kids and families first. So, Mr. President, I would be remiss if I did not note what is happening across the Capitol today. Even as the Senate works in a bipartisan manner to strengthen protections for children and teens online, the House Energy and Commerce Committee is marking up a weaker partisan version of this legislation. And that proposal strips away key protections and undermines the strong bipartisan compromise that members of this chamber have worked for years to develop. The children in our country, they deserve better than a watered-down privacy bill in this online era. For kids in our country right now, online access is like oxygen for them. It's all day. It's every day. And yet we haven't updated the safety protections in 25 years. I urge my colleagues in the House to set aside partisan differences and take up the Senate's bipartisan bill so that we can finally deliver meaningful online privacy protections for children and teenagers across our country. Young people and their families have waited long enough. That is what we will be voting on right now. And with that, I will yield to my partner, my friend in this effort, the Senator from Louisiana, Senator Cassidy.
Thanks for watching this video.